A brush fire exploded out of control Tuesday in the Cajon Pass, scorching through 30,000 acres as walls of flame forced more than 80,000 people to evacuate and destroyed an unknown number of homes in several rural San Bernardino County communities. Fed by strong winds, bone-dry brush and 100-degree temperatures, the Blue Cut fire marched across hills, canyons and flatlands into the night as firefighters struggled to get a handle on a blaze they fear will get worse. Fire officials said there was no containment in sight. Residents in several communities, including the entire ski resort town of Wrightwood, were forced to flee as the fire spread in several different directions. It closed Interstate 15 and Highway 138, the two key routes in the area, clogging traffic and making it more difficult for residents to evacuate. The blaze is the latest in a series of destructive wildfires to hit California as the state endures its fifth year of drought. The fires this year have claimed hundreds of homes and killed 8 people, but officials warn the worst might be still to come because Southern California's traditional fire season doesn't begin until fall, when the hot Santa Ana winds typically arrive. Officials blame the drought, which has left brush dangerously dry, for helping fuel the fires, which have stretched from Lake County in Northern California to the border region in San Diego County. In some areas, the fires have also been fueled by millions of dead or dying trees in forest areas. A wildfire also forced evacuation and wrecked buildings near the Cajon Pass last summer after flames jumped the freeway. That fire, dubbed the North Fire, grew to 4,250 acres. The Blue Cut fire was first reported just after 10:30 a.m. near Interstate 15 and jumped to nearly 1,500 acres in size within just 2 hours. As the fire continued to surge late Tuesday afternoon, Governor Jerry Brown declared a state of emergency in San Bernardino County. Homes could be seen burning along Highway 138 and television footage showed flames creeping toward a McDonald's and engulfing a large cross, setting it ablaze. "We know that we've lost structures, it's unknown how many at this time," said Tracy Martinez, Public Information Officer for the San Bernardino County Fire Department. "This fire is still raging out of control. 6 county firefighters became entrapped by walls of flame while defending homes and evacuating residents in Swarthout Canyon," Martinez said. The firefighters were able to take shelter in a nearby structure, but 2 had to be treated for minor injuries, she said. Both firefighters were released and have resumed battling the wildfire. In addition to Wrightwood, mandatory evacuations have been ordered for Baldy Mesa, Lytle Creek, Wrightwood, Old Cajon Road, Lone Pine Canyon, West Cajon Valley, and Swarthout Canyon, fire officials said. San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies raced door to door, urging residents to evacuate parts of Lytle Creek Canyon on Tuesday afternoon. A visit from a deputy prompted Ellen Polima, 63, and her husband to flee their home in Happy Jack on Tuesday. The couple quickly packed their cars and fled to a nearby ranger station. An hour later, Polima sat in a Prius stuffed with pillows, blankets, clothes and a cat nestled in its carrier. Her husband was parked nearby in a sport utility vehicle with the couple's 3 dogs. Tuesday was far from the couple's first evacuation. Polima and her husband have lived in the area for 25 years, and were not surprised by the blaze's rapid growth. "It's part of living in this canyon," she said. "It went fast. But it's very dry." Polima said she has worked with several of her neighbors to ensure that their properties are cleared of brush and anything else that could make their homes more flammable. "People need to be prepared and just know that that's part of the risk of living in these kinds of areas," she said. "We've got a beautiful community." Farther up the road, Lytle Creek resident Joe Gonzalez was gathering laptops and important papers after deputies asked him to leave. While he was ready to flee, Gonzalez said he wanted to wait until deputies checked on an elderly neighbor who might need a ride out of the area. "I'm a little worried. I don't want to leave here. We love it in the canyon," he said. "But that smoke looks pretty bad." Others took a wait-and-see approach as they watched a helicopter swoop down to draw water from Lac and fly toward the advancing fire near Lytle Creek Road and Alder Way. Steve Sager, 53, was packed and ready to go Tuesday night, but had decided to keep an eye on the fire before choosing whether or not to flee. "It's kind of like a mild tailgate party," he said as he sat alongside several neighbors on a stone fence. "As long as they can keep it on that ridge we'll be okay. If it comes over that ridge too far, I'm out of here." Cheryl Anaya, 67, had chosen to stay behind to try to protect her 2-story log cabin in case flying embers descended on the wood frame building. She had done the same during a previous wildfire in North Fontana several years earlier. "We're gonna stay and fight," she told one neighbor who was heading for the nearest highway. But with the Blue Cut fire rapidly growing in size, Alnaya accepted that she too might have to race out of the area if the flames got too close. At the Sultana High School Evacuation Center in Hesperia Wednesday morning, Alsuna Rosa sipped her cup of coffee and retraced the whirlwind that landed her in a cot among dozens of others. The 53-year-old has relied on Interstate 15 for years for the commute from her home in Banning to the high desert, where she works as a hospice nurse a few days every week. She had arrived high desert around 8 a.m. Tuesday and started noticing smoke around noon. When she tried to take Interstate 15 south to go home, it was closed. Then she tried her favorite alternate route along Summit Valley Road, but it was full of cars. Rosa tried to get a hotel room, but there weren't any rooms available. Other drivers and locals who fled their homes had claimed the last beds. Rosa sobbed, fearing she was stuck. "What am I going to do now?" She remembered asking herself. A motel employee referred her to the shelter, where she managed to get a few hours of sleep on one of the dozens of cots in the dimly lit gymnasium. "At the moment when I realized I had to spend the night here, it was shocking," she said, still dressed in Tuesday's blue hospital scrubs. Evacuees at the center began to wake up around 6 a.m. and grabbed refreshments and snacks. Gallons of milk sat in ice buckets near the school's entrance. Danielle Morgan, a volunteer working as the shelter supervisor, said 143 evacuees sought shelter at the school. Most came in around midnight, requesting blankets, food and water, she said. Anthony Botello moved to Hesperia 4 months ago, though his home was not in the evacuation zone. He didn't want to risk being at his home if the fire reached it. Sitting outside of the evacuation center, wearing his gold wedding ring, a black t-shirt and gym shorts, the 48-year-old came to the shelter last night with his wife and mother-in-law. "You can't worry about your things," he said. "It's your life that you have to value." He didn't pack much, only a few clothes. He left his new computer behind. "If it's lost, Botello said. "You got your life. It's only physical things." At 7 a.m., he decided to return home. At least 1,300 firefighters, 152 engines, 18 fire crews and 10 air tankers were on the scene as of Wednesday morning, according to fire officials. Kathleen Mattingly of the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection said the fire was burning through heavy, dry brush. It was not immediately clear if the fire was surging toward more residential areas or out into the desert. Mattingly said winds were moving northwest on Tuesday afternoon, but warned that could shift quickly. Authorities shut down the 15 freeway from Oak Hill Road to Kenwood Avenue, forest officials said. California 138 is closed from California 2 to the 15. The 15 is the major thoroughfare for drivers headed to Las Vegas from Southern California. The fire destroyed a historic Summit Inn restaurant in Oak Hills Tuesday afternoon. Video showed the restaurant, which sat near crest of the Interstate 15, engulfed in flames. "It is with a very heavy heart that I share this picture of the Summit Inn and surrounding buildings," the restaurant posted on Facebook, along with a photo. "It is beyond comprehension how this could possibly happen,"